Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining me for your practice today. I'm Sonia, and today I'm going to be guiding a sequence that will center around the eagle pose, which, if you haven't seen it before, is a very twisted up balancing posture. So quite obviously a great way to practice balance, concentration, focus, those types of things. Also an awesome opportunity to really get into those hips and shoulders, great for circulation, great for balancing the two sides of the brain. Those are what come to mind, probably other things too. Anyway, because it does get in so deeply into some of our body parts, it's pretty important to do some good solid warm-ups. So let's go ahead and start with some nice laying down warm-up moves. So finding your nice, comfortable space that you're going to practice in today and coming to just a nice reclined position, giving yourself a few moments to really arrive in your body, start checking in with your breath, perhaps taking a few really nice big breaths. Letting go of any tension that you might have gathered along the way. And then let's go ahead and start bringing some movement in. So let's go ahead and let our first movements be drawing one of those long legs in towards you, grabbing a hold of it, giving it a nice squeeze while you give that squeeze a breath, and then alternate sides. Starting to come to that place where you are really being present with your body, your breath, practicing slowing down. And one more. Whichever side is your next side, give it an extra long squeeze, a few extra breaths. And then take that bent leg with the opposite hand and draw it across your body towards the floor on the other side. Letting your eyes roll the opposite way, and just let this be a holding moment. Just let your body receive this. Come back to being really present with your nice, big, smooth breaths. And then as you unravel out of that, that same bent leg now goes wide so that you can build a half happy baby pose. Perhaps you can grab the sole of your foot. If that's out of reach, grab your ankle or some part of your leg, but looking to create a 90-degree angle with that leg, and then draw it towards the floor. And breathe. Allowing yourself to come out of that. That leg now becomes the long leg, and draw the second leg in. Give it that nice squeezing moment. Big breaths. Let your exhales release any tension or tightness that you might have in that hip or anywhere else inside of you. And then start going to that nice opportunity to wring it all out as you draw yourself into a nice reclined twist, taking that bent leg across your body, rolling your eyes the other way. A few nice big breaths there. Unraveling, taking that bent leg nice and wide so you can build that half happy baby pose. Striving to keep your shoulders as well as the hip of the long leg as grounded as you can. Smooth breath. Starting to allow that leg to re-lengthen Once those legs are nice and long, go ahead and bring both knees in this time. Give yourself one more little squeeze, maybe even roll around a little bit, just because it can feel fun and nurturing. Nice for your low back. And then as you bring it to stillness, take both of those legs up into the air and giving our ankles and our wrists a little bit of love. So starting to just make some nice wiggles, circles, up and down, anything that feels good. Just be intuitive with it, but just give some love to those ankles and wrists. Seeing if you can do that in such a way that it still doesn't feel rushed, really tuning into feeling those joints and those movements and the different stretches that happen as you move in different directions. And also breathing. Awesome. Allowing those wiggles to come back to stillness, making your arms nice and long, opening your legs nice and wide, and then finding your breath so that you can find a rhythm where your breath and your movements become coordinated. We'll inhale into this shape where all four limbs are nice and wide. Exhale to bring all four limbs together overhead. Slow and controlled. Opening on the inhales and bringing it all back together on the exhales. Let's do 2 more like that. One more. Leaving your legs high, but letting the arms come back to resting on the floor. And we're going to go ahead and build eagle legs. So you'll take those legs wide again. As you bring them together, instead of them just touching, you're going to allow one leg to cross over the other, as high as you can allow that to happen. Once you've established that, bend both legs, and perhaps that's your eagle legs. Or perhaps there's room for you to hook the foot of the top leg behind the calf of the bottom leg. Wherever you've ended up, just to let that be a sensation for a moment. See if you can squeeze the thighs into one another. And then let's go ahead and take our arms overhead, making that torso extra spacious. Find that breath. Really see if you can tune into finding it in your belly, because our next move is going to be a core move. So while your arms are reaching long, you're going to take those twisted up legs away from you. And then as you bring them back in towards you, you're going to let those arms come and reach one on either side of those twisted up legs. So those legs move away from your navel as you become long. And then that reach, that nice deep core move. Couple more. One more. Let the head, arms, shoulders relax. Just take a moment to take note of which leg is on top, and then gently unravel. Let those legs rise up to the ceiling for a moment for a flushing, like flushing out all the crud you just unraveled as you went into that nice deep place. Coming into side number 2. So opening those legs wide, crossing the second leg on top, again bending, and then exploring if the hook is accessible to you. Once it's there, just play around with feeling that ability to squeeze those legs, really stimulating your circulation, stretching, strengthening, and then go ahead and take those arms overhead. We'll do 4 more of those eagle leg crunches. Knees drift away from the navel as you're reaching those arms, and then it all comes in close to you as you squeeze the breath in your belly out. Long, smooth breaths. Let's do 2 more. Allow the upper body to relax, then unravel those legs. Another nice flushing moment. Awesome. Let's let those legs bend, bringing the feet towards the floor, planting them in such a way that they're wider than you might normally have them. maybe even wider than your mat. And we're gonna windshield wiper those legs. So letting both knees to go to the right while your eyes go to the left, and then vice versa. Striving not to rush. Giving each movement all your attention, your focus. Allow yourself to feel not just the destination, but the journey of getting yourself from one shape to another. Also feeling your breath, being a part of it. Awesome. One last one. And once you get up to center, let's walk those feet just a little bit closer together so that they're more like hip width apart. And we'll do a few rounds of bridge. So we're also going to do activating the core with our bridge. So as your hips float off the floor, allow your arms to again reach beyond your head. And then as you roll your pelvis back towards the floor, you'll actually let your head, shoulders, and hands come off the floor, reaching between the space between your knees. So seeing if you can find your rhythm with coming in and out of that one, slow and controlled, breathing fully into that belly if you can. One more. Let's let this last one be a holding moment. Just really breathing into that belly. Awesome. Coming down. Once your back and head have relaxed on the floor, bring those knees in. One more little squeezing, maybe rocking and rolling moment, just because it's nice and nurturing and perhaps feels playful. And then let's go ahead and take those legs up into the air, and we're going to make our way up to seated. So you can obviously just fumble your way there, or you could play with one plow, and then seeing if you can allow yourself to roll up to seated from there. Either way, making your way to being upright, and you can either leave your legs long, or you could cross your legs, whatever you prefer. The moves for a few moments are going to be more about our shoulders, so definitely sit however feels most comfortable for you. So let's just go ahead and start with some sweeping arm movements. Inhaling to take those arms up and exhaling to take them down. Imagining that these arms are a lot like your eagle wings, just gracefully soaring through the sky. Maybe you look up as you take your hands up, and then you look down as your hands float down, giving your neck a little bit of movement, stretch, and release. Let's call that the last one. Centering your spine out, bringing those arms to halfway up, and now coming into seated cat-cow, but with some emphasis on the shoulders with an arm movement. So as you sink into your nice arched back bend shape, you're going to reach those arms back as far as you can until you really feel a nice squeeze in the shoulders. As you round your back behind you, you'll reach those same arms out in front of you, really allowing the shoulder blades to broaden across your upper back. And see if you can again find that smooth rhythm that's your rhythm of inhaling to open and then exhaling to round and reach. Two more. Last one. And then again, allow your spine to come to its upright place. We'll take arms back one more time, this time just one at a time so that we get a nice twist. So the hand that's not going to reach back, you'll perhaps hold on to some portion of your leg or the floor so that it's almost like a leverage point so that you can reach back and really get into those shoulders as well as your spinal twist. Looking to the hand that's reaching behind you with your eyes. Taking a few breaths here. Dropping those shoulders. Unraveling nice and slow. Pausing briefly at center, and then building that same pose on the second side. Finding that leverage place that works for you with the spare hand. Reaching back, looking back. Shoulders and ears move away from one another. Nice, big, nourishing breath. Unraveling back towards center. And again, really feeling that centering out feeling, that lengthening feeling. We're gonna go back to that place where our arms are out wide. Sitting up tall this time though, not arching open. And we'll bring those arms out in front of us, and we're gonna cross one arm over the other. Then we're gonna bend those arms, and then perhaps these are your eagle arms. Similar to the legs, perhaps you have room to hook the hands. Wherever you've ended up, either way is absolutely perfect. Playing with lifting the elbows a little higher, dropping the shoulder blades a little lower, and then looking for, have my hands fallen towards my head? And if they have, seeing if you can draw them away from your head so that your wrists stack over your elbows. Breathing here for a moment, really squeezing those arms into each other. Activating. Beautiful. Taking note of which arm you have on top so that as we unravel, we can smoothly move into second side. So unraveling one nice big sweeping of those eagle wings just to flush everything that just took place, and then building your second side. Again, if you have the hook, great. If you don't, great. Still making those adjustments. So the elbows up, shoulders down, hands away from your face and your head. Squeezing, breathing, balancing the two sides of your brain, really getting some circulation going. Deeply wringing out any shoulder tension that you might have. One more breath. And then unraveling those arms, and one more nice big sweeping eagle wings. Awesome. We're gonna do that one more time, but before we do, let's just make some nice circular movements with the torso, just to get any of those little kinks out that you might have kind of discovered. Do get both directions, helping the crud make its way out of those tight spots. Centering back out, preparing to build eagle arms on side number one again. The cross, the bend, and then perhaps the hook. Making those little micro adjustments. And then this time, we're gonna go ahead and come back to our cat-cow type spine movement. So you'll take those elbows high, following with your eyes. That should create a little bit of an arch in your back. And then as you start drawing those elbows towards the navel, allow that back to round. 2 more times like that, really nice and slow. One more. As you center it out and prepare to come into side number 2, again, just double check you know which arm is on top so that you can do the other arm on top the second time around. Coming into one nice big flap of the eagle wings before we build second side. Same like last time, settle into it, make your little micro adjustments, find your breath, and let your inhales take you into that nice arching, and the exhales, the rounding. Let your elbows be the guiding force here, taking the elbows high, and then the elbows towards your navel. One last one. Once you center back out, Unravel those arms, and let's do a couple rounds of those nice eagle wing sweeping movements. One more, nice big breath. Fabulous. Okay, so if your legs are crossed and making them long now, and we're gonna make our way towards being standing, and we'll go there in a playful and strong way. So the two poses will be plow and squat. So playing around with rolling back and perhaps into the full version. Perhaps you come to something that looks more like this. Just really being where you're at, and then seeing if you can really tune into that core control and rolling yourself towards a squat. And perhaps you come to a squat where you're still sitting, but you're in a squat shape. Definitely find the variation that's going to work for you, and play with doing this one 2 more times. Breathing. Ending in the squat, and if you are in the version where you're sitting on the floor, perhaps using your hands to help you up into a squat. Adjust your feet so that you feel as stable as you can. And then let's take our hands, interlace those fingers, and while you let gravity draw your pelvis towards the floor, allow your heart to lift and stir a big imaginary pot in front of you. And whatever you're stirring in there is thick. So really strive to visualize that resistance so that you can really get into some of those back muscles and those shoulders. All the while those hips are getting that nice deep stretch and opportunity for release. Do switch the direction of your stirring and stir some breath in there. Last one, coming to center and preparing to make your way up towards standing. So you can either rise up on your strong legs, or you can make your way up any way that works for you. Once you are upright, just take a moment. Let standing become powerful in its stillness. Find your breath. So similar to our eagle wing, just arm movements that we did sitting, we're going to do a few rounds of those standing, with the addition of lifting our heels so that we're on the balls of our toes simultaneously with our arms being up in the air. The soles of the feet will come back down to the floor as your hands come back down. So starting to really hone in on our balance while we do this. Still looking to coordinate your movement with your breath, and perhaps visualizing big eagle wings soaring through the sky. Let's do one more. And once your soles settle back on the ground, take another moment, just the power of stillness, and just breathe there. Next, we're going to go ahead and come into a few rounds of chair legs. So this type of squat. Our arms, however, are going to go back to where they were before when we were sitting, and we were opening them here and bringing them out in front of us. We're going to do that with our chair legs. So when the legs are straight, your arms will go behind you, wringing out those shoulders, really squeezing them together, opening up through that heart. As you sink into your chair legs, reach those arms straight out in front of you. And then use your powerful legs to rise back up and open up on your inhales. Couple more rounds like that. Okay, last one. And rise back up to your standing mountain pose. We're going to go ahead and start building our eagle legs. So you've done them once laying down. The balance challenge will be definitely an added component as you come into them the standing version, but it's going to be the same thing where you're going to cross your legs, and maybe those are your eagle legs. Perhaps you've got room for the hook. See if you can play with sinking in and out of that a little bit. Beautiful. Unravel, pause for a second, and then go ahead and do it on the other side. So again, sinking into your chair a little bit, crossing your legs, perhaps finding the hook, perhaps wobbling around. And then once you feel stable, sinking in and out. Just feeling the squeeze, the balance, the focus, the hips. Awesome. And again, coming back out. Maybe even shaking it out a little bit. We're going to go ahead and build the full eagle now, which will be those legs that you just practiced, as well as the arms that you just practiced when you were sitting down. So you can obviously come into it any way you would like. I would maybe recommend first building the legs, coming back to side number one. Once you feel like you've stabilized it, you want to cross the opposite arm on top, opposite of what top leg you have. So if your right leg is on top, you want your left arm on top, and vice versa. Making those little adjustments. Elbows high, shoulders down, breathing. Beautiful. Rising out as gracefully as you can, giving yourself a pausing moment. Coming into second side. Hopefully you can remember which leg you had on top. Taking a moment to figure that out so that you do the second side. And then again, same deal with the arms. Coming into the opposite arm being on top. Breathing. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and play around with a little bit of warrior. So we're going to step back for warrior one. So taking a moment to build your warrior, your back foot is at the angle, everything's facing forward. Make sure you feel nice and stable. We're actually going to go ahead and clasp our hands behind us. So this is going to be a nice opportunity to bring out those shoulders that we've just done quite a bit of work with. So finding that interlaced feeling, those shoulders getting that perfect deep stretch, and then just maintain that while you sink in and out of your warrior legs with the rhythm of your breath. One last one. We'll hold the legs for this one. Really, really stabilize, and then see if you've got room to fold over that thigh. Taking those hands beyond your head. Coming up as gracefully as you can, releasing those hands and hopping your feet back together, perhaps shaking it out. Stepping back for second side. Building those warrior legs. Taking those arms behind you again. Finding your breath. Inhaling to straighten the leg and exhaling to sink into those powerful warrior legs. A few times. Last one for the hold in the legs. Make sure you feel good and stable, and then exploring that fold over the thigh. That really nice deep release for those shoulders. Making your way out, releasing and hopping feet back together. shaking it out perhaps. And then let's go ahead and widen those legs. We're gonna come into warrior two now. So building your perpendicular feet, leveling out those hips, bringing those arms up, parallel to the ground, nice and long. When you feel ready, same like the warrior one. Let's sink in and out of those legs a few times, just really lengthening and shortening those muscles, practicing the art of coming in and out of the pose, practicing moving with our breath. On this last one, again, sinking in for a hold in the legs, really looking to stabilize, and then build eagle arms. Squeeze those arms into one another. Lift those elbows, drop those shoulders. Take a few more really nice deep breaths. Rise up out of the legs. Take note of which arm you have on top for your eagle arms. Unravel them, and one nice big flapping of your eagle wings. Turning for side number two. Feet are perpendicular again. Arms come into place on an inhale, and exhale to sink into your legs. Rising up and down at the pace of your breath. Inhaling up, exhaling to sink in. Last one, we'll hold those legs. Building eagle arms on that second side. Feeling powerful, stable, breathing smoothly. Moving out tension. Rising up out of those legs, unraveling those arms, one big eagle soaring moment, and then turn those feet so that they're parallel to each other. They're still nice and wide, and let's take a nice forward fold here, a nice wide-legged letting go moment. Let your arms dangle wherever they feel most comfortable. Let your head go, let your back go, let everything go. Breathe. Rather than coming all the way up, coming to that halfway up place where your back becomes nice and flat. Looking for stability with those fingers on the floor under your face. Maybe it's the palm of your hand if you're able to reach. And take the other arm up into the sky. Nice twisting moment. Another opportunity to wring out those shoulders. Those legs getting some nice flow and stretch. You're grounded. Looking for smooth transition as you make your way to the second side without rushing. Reach, stabilize, breathe. Let that hand come down. Fall one last time into that nice surrendering, letting go moment of a forward fold. Give that a few breaths. Rising back up for one last reaching, standing moment. Really come into the juiciest full body stretch you can muster. Everything's open, everything's long, including your breath. And then as you bring your hands down, also start bringing your feet a little closer together, bringing them into that position that was the right position for you to come back down into that same squat that we rose up out of. Just letting that be a pose for a moment, your garland pose. Lift that heart. And then see how gracefully you're able to sit on the floor. Let's activate our core again by coming into a boat pose. So you can do any variation of boat that you like. You could have bent legs supported. You could have straight legs supported. You could have bent legs with reaching arms, or you could have straight legs with reaching arms. Striving to not let your back slump and just looking to always remember to lift and open our hearts. Breathing. Find that core. Bringing the hands to the floor and allowing yourself to roll back into one more plow pose, this time for a little bit longer of a hold. And again, perhaps this is not your version. Maybe yours is more of just legs in the air. Being where you're at. Breathing. As you roll your way back towards the floor, let those legs bend and come back to that bridge lift positioning. So about hip width apart. Nice and firmly planted, and this time no core arms or anything, but just a few more rounds of coming in and out of a bridge pose. Nice and slow, massaging that spine as it comes on and off the floor, emphasizing breathing for that belly that gets to be so spacious as it rises up. One more. Once you land on the floor, walk those feet out a little wider so that you can do just a couple more rounds of those windshield wiper legs that you did in the beginning. Maybe noticing if they feel any different now than they did when you did the first set. Still striving to stay present with breath and striving not to rush. Awesome, last one. And once you get back towards center, squeeze both of those legs in. Give yourself a nice little squeezing moment, maybe even a little rocking moment, especially if that feels good for you. And then we're gonna go ahead and take both arms and both legs up towards the ceiling, and we're gonna build eagle pose again. This time, obviously laying down, but this time both the arms and the legs. So remembering to cross opposite, whichever leg you decide to put on top, opposite arm goes on top. And then there's the cross, and then perhaps there's the hook. Finding your pose first. Now we're gonna go into what are called eagle crunches. So earlier on, we took the twisted up legs away from us and into us. That's gonna be doing the same thing. Simultaneously though, as the knees go away, the elbows are going to go away in the opposite direction. So those knees and elbows will go far away from each other on the inhale. And on the exhale, you'll draw it all in towards each other. Knees and elbows towards one another. Head comes off the floor. That's where you exhale and you really emphasize hollowing out your belly. Inhaling, taking it all far away. Exhaling, squeezing it all in towards center. Two more on this side. Big breath. Last one. Before you come into the glory of unraveling, double check you know which limbs you have on top, and then unravel, take it all up to the ceiling for a flushing moment, both the arms and the legs. Really see if you can feel energy, feel the blood flow. And then go ahead and start building second side. Take a moment to just settle into it, find your breath, and then just like on the other side, inhaling, taking it all as far away from each other as you can, and then in towards one another as you squeeze out that belly and squeeze it all together. Few more. One more. Let it come to that relaxed place, unravel it, take it up towards the ceiling for a moment, maybe wiggle your hands and your feet, maybe shake out your legs or your arms, just have a nice little wiggly moment, and then let yourself come towards the floor and just completely let go. Go to floppy mode. And just take a few nice big breaths in that place of let go, and just feel for a moment. Just feel whatever it is that you feel. Absorb everything that just took place, everything that you just cultivated. Just reap the benefits of stillness and relaxation. And of course, you can stay here for as long as you feel inclined to do so. And you can also, of course, get up and move into whatever is next. I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.